What if I told you you never have to worry about the null hypothesis again? Well, you don't. Back in the early 1900s, Sir Ronald Fisher invented the concept of hypothesis testing. Now, here's something absolutely wild. It's still the gold standard 100 years later. Pretty cool. And it is taught exactly the same way as it was 100 years ago. Not quite so cool. So it's time for a little refresh. We make statistics super challenging for people with all of the rigor of fancy language. It's partway through the 21st century. Let's make it a little easier to digest. Now, in your business, you are trying to prove a statistic is different. The average is higher or lower or different from a target value or another average. Now, this could be variances, proportions, and so on. We'll just keep it simple for now. We'll just use averages in future examples. Now, the fancy term is mean. Now, think about what it is you're trying to prove. That, my friends, is the alternative hypothesis, what you are trying to prove. That is all you need to know about in life. So let's go to Engine Room for some examples. And while we're going to Engine Room, please like and subscribe down below. Thank you. We are going to use one of my favorite data sets, my on-time shipping performance. Let me get my glasses out here, and we're just going to use these first two columns of on-time shipping and this little shift that we have in column C, just for examples. So I'm going to go to parametric tests. I'm going to run a two sample means test. And so I'm going to go over and I'm going to drag in my on-time shipping and this shift. And lo and behold, look up here. The software asks me not about the null hypothesis, it asks me about the alternative hypothesis. And many software packages actually do this. They ask you, what is the alternative hypothesis? And so it's asking you, are they not equal, greater than, or less than? And what's super cool is down here below, you can see that it gives you both the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis written out in words. Now, if you're in academia and your professor doesn't like that, you can show it as the more formal of mean one equal to mean two and so on. You can toggle which one you like. All right, we're going to continue on. And now, one of the things that Engine Room does is it gives us a statistical conclusion. And it says at the 5% level, reject the null hypothesis. I would submit that your vice presidents probably don't like that answer. Your professors do, but nobody else does. If the second sentence is spot on, there's sufficient evidence that the mean of on-time shipping is not equal to the mean of the shift. Cool, and you can check out the p-values 0.0166 and so on. So that second sentence phrases your result in the language of the alternative hypothesis. You can skip that first sentence. All right. Now, we're going to change this ever so slightly. We're going to change that alpha level from 0.05 to 0.01, and we're going to see how the conclusion changes. And it says at the 1% level, do not reject the null hypothesis. You could skip that one. What the business cares about is the next sentence. There is insufficient evidence to reject the claim that the mean is equal to the other mean. That's in the language of the alternative hypothesis. There's no evidence to prove that they are different. Right? Super cool. You can do this with all statistical analyses. All right. So Now, if somebody wants to get nasty, wants to know the null hypothesis, look back at your alternative hypothesis. The null is everything else. And we saw that with our null hypothesis. All right. It described the universe of everything else. Software doesn't care. Why should you? It's just noise that confuses you. There's enough important things in life to be confused by. Why add to the confusion with unimportant things? Now, there are a few times in life where writing the null hypothesis is actually easier. But once you get into the hang of focusing on the alternative hypothesis, you'll soon forget about the null hypothesis. The mantra, if the p-value is low, HO must go, is just one more thing to try to remember when it's not necessary. Here's my advice. Every decision you make revolves around the alternative hypothesis. Don't worry about both of them. Focus and talk only about the alternative hypothesis. Now you're speaking the language of business. Your management will like you better for that. Okay, if you're publishing a paper, fine. Write down the null hypothesis. Speak the null hypothesis gobbledygook. But most of us are busy solving real world problems, and it's a needless step. Nail the alternative hypothesis, and the software will do the rest.